I'm here to show the world. I'm here to show the world. Come on, bring it on.
All right, welcome into the Salamander Society. This is a part of my superstar-specific podcast. I'm going to be talking today about Dolph Ziggler's potential as a main eventer. We'll be talking about Dolph Ziggler in particular and how he can rise back to the main event like he was in the 2013-2014 realm right in there. First, to start off with, Dolph Ziggler is a great performer. He is one of the best in the wrestling business today at what he does. You can tell that he's got some talent, and he's shown it before in his career. He just has been on the downside as of late. Since probably Survivor Series 2014, he has been mediocre, and he's been booked and pushed very mediocre. Very mediocre. The final nail in the coffin to the Dolph Ziggler character seems to be his feud with Rusev in 2015, with the cross love angle with Summer Rae and Lana and all of that. That seemed to be the final nail in the coffin. But can WWE save Dolph Ziggler? They seem to be wanting to now that he is in the main event, or one of the main events for SummerSlam. We don't know if he will be in one of the main events really, but you would think, because this is for the WWE title. And how will they book him? How will they book him? Will they book him as just another challenger to Dean Ambrose, or will they book him as a legitimate challenger? Will they book him to where he has a chance to win? You can tell that Dolph Ziggler can wrestle with the best with them. He can play to the crowd like anybody's business. He can play to that crowd. He can play the crowd like it's an instrument and like he's the best in the world at his instrument. He can hit high and awe-inspiring spots, like off the top rope, into the ring or outside of the ring, through tables, anything. He can do all kinds of spots that get the crowd excited. And he's one of the best sellers on the roster. I would say him and AJ both are the best sellers on the roster of WWE right now. And he has not been selling like I know he can since WWE has been booking him poorly. So why has he been kept from the main event since around 2014? Why has he been kept from that main event scene? Some say it's his fault. Some say he's dropped the ball. Some say he got boring when he got up there. Most, including me, believe that it's WWE's fault. They dropped the ball. They just dropped him right then. That concussion was it. That was it for his title push. And that's what he never won a title. He hasn't won a title since then. He was still kind of a main eventer, kind of a main scene kind of guy. Very strong and very legitimate character until after Survivor Series 2014 going into 2015, where he was not to be seen. So I believe that the WWE has dropped the ball. But now it doesn't matter anymore because he's right there again. He's facing Dean at SummerSlam for the WWE title. This is his shot. This is his chance to get back into that main event picture. This is his chance to actually succeed this time instead of failing like he has done several times with the championship, with that main event push. So will he do it? Will he be able to do it? So I'm gonna be here today not to tell you that he can or he can't. I'm gonna tell you that he has the potential, that he has the ability to be able to do it. I'm not going to say one way or the other whether he will or whether he will not. I'm going to say that he can do it, and his potential is very high. He has the ability to do it. He has the potential and the ability to be a main eventer, but more specifically, a heel, a bad guy character. That is what he is best at. One Dolph Ziggler's catchphrases, and probably the best one, was "It's just too good that I'm too bad," or "It's just too bad that I'm too good," is what I meant to say right there. Which that just shows you that he can be that arrogant SOB that we don't like, but we love him because he is that good. We know that he is that good. We don't necessarily love him. I didn't mean to say that. We don't necessarily love him. We don't necessarily like him, but we know that he is that good, and there's nothing we can do about it. He's a former amateur wrestler, and he's always been a fan favorite no matter what, even though when he was a heel, people would boo him. But people booed him because he was a good heel, and they eventually cheered him, like the legendary pop the night after WrestleMania 29, and you all probably know what that is. And we all know that we all know that he's good, and that's why we cheer him. We cheer him because of how naturally good he is at what he does, and how naturally good at giving us a show that he is. But it's when he embraces that and tells the crowd that I'm better than you, that's when he's at his best. On the mic and in the ring, that's when he's doing his best work. When he's saying, crowd, I am better than you. WWE Universe, I am better than you. There's nothing you can do about it. It's genetics. I am superior to you. And I let me show you it every night, even in the back. People in the superstars in the back, I am better than them. I will go out night after night and prove that I'm better than them, and there's nothing they can do about it. That's when he's at his best. The underdog babyface thing that they've been trying to do does not work for Dolph Ziggler. I don't know what it is. He has charisma. He is an underdog. He's not the biggest guy, but it just doesn't work for him. It might be because he's good. He's that good, but Daniel Bryan was good, so I just don't know what it is, but it just doesn't work for him. It works for a while, like we saw at Survivor Series when the crowd was cheering him out of the building almost, but they were cheering him very loudly, and the whole wrestling community was cheering him at that moment. But long term, this cannot work. This underdog babyface thing, it cannot work. I'm too good gimmick will always work for Dolph Ziggler. No matter what, it will always work for him because that is who he is. That's naturally what character he picks up because it's probably an extension of him. He's probably not that flamboyant about his arrogance, but he's probably pretty arrogant inside. He probably thinks that he's better than everybody. And that's probably why he's been underperforming, because he's not getting the opportunities, so he feels that he doesn't have to perform very well instead of grabbing and trying to get there. That might be why the underdog thing doesn't work as well. See, I'm working out my own problems. I'm working out my own unknowledge of things right here. So that gimmick will always work for him because of his arrogance, because of his natural arrogance. But just imagine Dolph Ziggler. He can create these matches that would be legendary, that would be career making. Just imagine that heel Dolph Ziggler against Dean Ambrose, the lunatic, like it's going to be. I hope it's going to be this way. But he's about to face Dean, who's a lunatic. He's a babyface technically, but he has some heelish things because he's the lunatic. Just imagine the character building between those two. Imagine him versus Cesaro, the Swiss Superman, who is one of the best in the ring, but Dolph Ziggler goes out there and outperforms him. Just imagine that. Imagine Sami Zayn, who is the underdog, and Dolph Ziggler goes out there and says, underdogs, you cannot have an underdog story against me. You cannot have one of those stories against me because I'm just too good for that. And even against a heel Kevin Owens, I thought this one out. I can see a heel Kevin Owens versus a heel Dolph Ziggler working together as heels. I can see that. It's just like a babyface Hulk Hogan versus the Ultimate Warrior, but in reverse. Two heels working together. I see Dolph Ziggler coming out and saying Kevin Owens is a prize fighter. He has to have a prize to fight for, or the other way. Either he has a prize to fight for, or he doesn't see the worth in fighting. Period, because he's fighting for his family. Technically. But Dolph Ziggler comes out there and he's not. Kevin Owens says he's not worth the fight with me. There's no prize in him. I'm assuming Dolph Ziggler doesn't have a title at this point. There's no prize in fighting him. He's not a great one. But if Dolph Ziggler comes out with the "I'm too good" thing, he says, "I don't need a prize to be worthy of a prize fighter. I am the prize." You see, you don't get a prize. You don't beat me to get a prize. You beat me to beat me. You beat me to be on the short list of people that have come over the mountain against me. So that's what I would say there, because he would come out and say, "I'm just too good. I am the prize." I'll have to fantasy book that sometime. That be watching out for that, I guess. Dolph Ziggler is great at telling a story. Period. He's great in telling a story in that heel role. You saw it with his title runs. He had 2 of them, I think. You saw it with the "I'm too good" thing. The heel character right there. He can tell a story. He can elevate baby faces like nobody's business. And he can elevate himself at the same time, as high as he can go. And I'm looking forward to see if WWE will pull the trigger on this. I'm looking forward to seeing if they will turn Dolph Ziggler heel and put him in his natural habitat. I want to see that with all of my being. I want to see that. Dolph Ziggler at one time was one of my favorite superstars in wrestling, but now it just seems like he's kind of faded out. Just kind of faded out into oblivion, faded out into mid-carderdom, faded out into Jobberville, if you want to call it that. But hopefully they will pull the trigger and bring back Dolph Ziggler, because the Dolph Ziggler I'm seeing right now is not Dolph Ziggler. So I'm hoping they will do that. And I'm hoping we'll see the "I'm too good" Dolph Ziggler versus the lunatic fringe Dean Ambrose at SummerSlam. I'm hoping that will be the start of Dolph Ziggler's rise to the main event scene. And I think that he has the potential to be there as a heel. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think about Dolph Ziggler right now. If you're like me, you don't like him right now. But you're starting to come around if they get that heel persona back. Tell me what you want to see from this Dolph Ziggler and Dean Ambrose feud, or whatever you want to comment. I'll answer anything. Hit me up on Twitter. Follow me. Like me on Facebook. I'm coming out with the website pretty soon, so I'll start advertising that on my videos. And until then, I'll see you later.
I've seen better